At the heart of Europe lies a nation that has shaped the course of world history. Once a land divided into hundreds of states, a nation that has gifted the world legendary philosophers, brilliant scientists, revolutionary engineers, and timeless composers. Yet, this same land has also witnessed some of the darkest chapters in human history. From the mighty Holy Roman Empire, to the rise of Prussia, the unification of Germany, to devastating world wars, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the rebirth of a united nation, how did a fragmented territory transform into one of the most powerful countries in the world? This is the complete history of Germany, before the existence of Germany. Before the castles, before the kings, before the nation we know today, there was only the forest, endless forests, cold rivers, and fierce tribes living in freedom, alone. They had no single king, no unified empire, no great cities, but they possessed something far more powerful, an unbreakable spirit. When the mighty Roman Empire was conquering kingdom after kingdom, one land refused to bow. Rome believed its invincible legions could conquer anyone. They were wrong. In the year 9 AD, 3 Roman legions marched deep into the mysterious forests of Germania. Confident, disciplined, certain of victory. But hidden behind the trees, thousands of Germanic warriors were waiting, watching, silent, patient. Then, everything changed. What would later be known as the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest. The Roman army was completely surrounded. Rain poured from the sky. Thick mud slowed the soldiers down. Narrow forest paths trapped them. And from all sides, the Germanic warriors launched their assault. Hours turned into days. When the battle finally ended, 3 entire Roman legions had been annihilated. It was one of the greatest defeats in Roman history. After that catastrophe, Rome never again attempted to conquer the lands beyond the Rhine. That victory became more than just a battle. It became a symbol of freedom, of courage, and of resistance. But the tribes were still divided, and it would take many centuries for them to unite under a single empire. The Holy Roman Empire, a millennium of power. Empires are not built in a day. They rise through ambition, through sacrifice, and through vision. A brief pause. After centuries of conflict, the Germanic lands remained fractured. Dozens of kingdoms, hundreds of rulers, each fighting for power. But in the year 800, history took a dramatic turn. A powerful king named Charlemagne was crowned emperor in Rome by the Pope. This was more than just a ceremony. It was the birth of a dream to unite most of Central Europe under one Christian empire. Over time, this vision evolved into what became known as the Holy Roman Empire. Despite its name, it was not truly Roman, nor was it a single, unified nation. Instead, it was a vast collection of kingdoms, duchies, and cities, held together under a single emperor. For nearly 1,000 years, the Holy Roman Empire shaped the politics, the culture, and the future of Europe. Majestic cathedrals rose above growing cities. Trade flourished. Universities were established. Great thinkers, artists, and craftsmen helped transform the Germanic lands into one of the intellectual centers of Europe. Yet, beneath the surface, a dangerous problem remained. The empire was powerful, but it was never truly unified. Every prince craved more power. Every kingdom protected its own interests. And slowly, the dream of a single empire began to fracture. Those divisions would one day open the door for a new power, Prussia. Chapter 4. The Unification of Prussia and Germany. History does not change abruptly. It is changed by visionary people. At the beginning of the 19th century, the Holy Roman Empire had fallen. The German territories were once again divided into dozens of independent states. Many believed that Germany would never become a single nation. But in the north, a new power was rising. Prussia. Prussia was not the wealthiest state. It was not the largest either, but it possessed something extraordinary. Discipline, a powerful army, exceptional leadership, and an unwavering belief that unifying Germany was possible. Then came the man who would change history forever. Otto von Bismarck, known as the Iron Chancellor. Bismarck understood that Germany could never be unified through speeches alone. He famously declared, "The great questions of the time will not be resolved by speeches, but by iron and blood." Through careful diplomacy, strategic alliances, and 3 decisive wars, Prussia defeated its rivals one by one. Finally, on January 18, 1871, inside the Palace of Versailles in France, the German princes proclaimed King Wilhelm I of Prussia as the first emperor of a unified Germany. At last, after centuries of division, Germany had become one nation. But this unity brought something more: power, industrialization, and ambition. Soon, the new German Empire would challenge the greatest powers of Europe, and the whole world would bear the consequences. Chapter 5. The First World War. A unified Germany had emerged as one of the most powerful forces in Europe. Its industries were growing rapidly, and its military had become one of the most formidable in the world. However, with its growing power, tensions began to rise. Europe became divided into rival alliances. Then, on June 28, 1914, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand triggered a conflict that spread across the entire continent. The First World War had begun. For more than 4 years, Germany fought on multiple fronts. Millions of soldiers lost their lives. By 1918, Germany was exhausted. They were forced to admit defeat and sign the Treaty of Versailles. This treaty compelled Germany to cede territory, reduce its military strength, and pay massive reparations. Many Germans felt humiliated, and that resentment soon paved the way for a man who promised to restore the nation's glory: Adolf Hitler. Chapter 6. The Rise of Adolf Hitler. Defeat had left Germany in ruins. Inflation had skyrocketed, millions of people lost their jobs, and families were struggling just to survive. In the midst of this crisis, one man offered a glimmer of hope. His name was Adolf Hitler. A powerful orator, he promised to rebuild Germany, restore its economy, and dismantle the Treaty of Versailles. In 1933, Hitler became the Chancellor of Germany. Within a short period, democracy was abolished, political opponents were silenced, and the Nazi Party took absolute control. Germany grew stronger, and its military expanded rapidly. But behind that rising power, a devastating war was approaching, a conflict that would change the world forever. Would you like to continue with the next chapter, or would you like to explore a specific historical event mentioned in this narrative? Chapter 7. World War II and the Fall of Nazi Germany. September 1, 1939. Germany invaded Poland. Within just a few days, Europe was once again engulfed in war. What followed became the deadliest conflict in human history, World War II. At first, Germany achieved a series of swift victories. One nation after another fell before the German military. However, the tide of the war soon began to turn. The Soviet Union pushed back from the east, the Allied forces advanced from the west, and Germany found itself fighting on every front. By 1945, Berlin was surrounded. The war was lost, Nazi Germany collapsed, and silence finally fell across Europe. But for Germany, the most difficult chapter was only just beginning. The Berlin Wall, a divided nation. The war had ended, but peace did not bring unity. Germany was divided into 2 separate states. West Germany embraced democracy and a market economy, while East Germany fell under Soviet influence. Families, friends, and even neighbors were suddenly torn apart by politics. Then, in 1961, a wall rose in the heart of Berlin. It was called the Berlin Wall. For 28 years, it stood as one of the most powerful symbols of the Cold War. But history has a strange way of surprising the world. On November 9, 1989, the wall finally fell. Families embraced one another once again. A divided nation began to heal, and in 1990, Germany was reunified into a single country. Would you like to explore any other chapters in this historical timeline? Or perhaps focus on a specific aspect of German reunification? Chapter 9. Modern Germany, a rebuilt nation. History remembers Germany for many reasons. For its powerful empires, for its brilliant minds, for its devastating wars, and for one of the greatest recoveries in modern history. Today, Germany is no longer defined by the conflicts of its past, but by its innovation, its engineering, its democracy, and its leadership in Europe. From world-famous automobiles to cutting-edge technology, from historic castles to vibrant modern cities, Germany has rebuilt itself into one of the world's most powerful economies. Yet perhaps the greatest lesson from Germany is this: no nation is trapped by the shackles of its past. A country can learn, it can change, and it can build a better future. The story of Germany is not just about war. It is a story of resilience, of unity, and of renewal. This is the story of Germany. 2-second pause. But every nation has a story waiting to be discovered. Beyond Europe, in the heart of Asia, lies one of the world's oldest civilizations, a land of great dynasties, of revolutionary inventions, of powerful emperors, and thousands of years of unforgettable history. In our next documentary, we will uncover the incredible history of China. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, because history belongs to us all. See you in the next episode of World Warrior.